Hello, good evening, and Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome again from the platform of the Skillers Education Consultancy. All those people who are watching us live, thank you very much. I would like to really say a very big thanks to all my followers who have been constantly watching our webinars, our seminars, sending us requests. Thank you very much. This is really a very overwhelming response. Today we have with us, as I told you last week, we have with us Gohar and Nayab, a teacher educator with us. And Gohar's topic today is about effective online teaching. But before we move on to online effective teaching, let's ask about Gohar a bit about himself, and then we will take the topic further. So Gohar, would you like to introduce yourself to our viewers?
Thank you so much, Kiran, for inviting me to this live interactive program. I was really waiting for this since 2 weeks now. Yes, there has been with time changes in the topic as well, because what we think once and then we study and we keep on improvising, then the topic really changes a lot. But then I will try my best to do justice with the topic. Let me introduce myself to the world. My name is Gohar. I'm a teacher educator, currently teaching at St. Patrick's High School, and I'm a Microsoft Innovative Educator certified. And I conduct Microsoft trainings as well as teacher-based trainings wherever people request me to do. So, as a short introduction, I've been in the field of education since 14 years now, by the grace of God, and I've been teaching in O-level section and as well as lower secondary sections. So that's what.
Thank you, Gohar. Welcome, Seema. Welcome, Amna. I can see your responses here. A very good welcome to, in fact, thank you very much for being here. I'm sure this session is going to be a worthwhile session for all of you. Please invite others as well to join in, because this is something that is the need of the time. All the teachers here are really struggling because there was an overnight change, and we all really struggled to move from four-wall classrooms to virtual classrooms. And specifically, Gohar, when I spoke about this particular topic with him, he said, this is what we really need. So I'm sure that this is going to be a worthwhile lesson for all of you. Please invite others as well. This video will be available on our Facebook pages. You can contact us later. Just a little program today. We will start off with Gohar's presentation, the session that he's prepared for all of you. With that, you may ask questions at the end. Your questions will appear here. If you feel like asking any question in between the session, please feel free, but we'll definitely be taking the questions at the end. So, Gohar, your voice is very low to hear your introduction. Can you be a bit louder, please? A suggestion from one of the viewer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Audible now?
Well, I think it's quite audible to me. If the audience can let me know if Gohar is audible. All right, Gohar, you may please start. Assalamu alaikum, Munir, Nahid, thank you very much for joining. Please invite others also. This is something that we really need to learn. So I would really appreciate and encourage if more and more teachers can join us, at least for today's session, so that they can get an idea of how to offer online teaching and not only offer, in fact, effective teaching. Right, so your voice is good to go, Gohar. Please, let's start.
Thank you so much, Kiran. I'd like to share my screen now with your permission. And
sure,
where voice quality is concerned, I'll be holding my mic because you won't be able to see me now. So I'll do that trick, and maybe this query of low voice will be resolved.
Sure.
So let's get started. Very good evening to all of you. I hope that you are able to see my screen. And this is the first slide that you are watching, and at the same time, it says effective online teaching. It's a webinar, and it's just one word. It says Microsoft Innovative Educator. It's because I'm connected with Microsoft, and I do integrate some of their content available to share with the world. The question that we will begin with is, what makes us effective teachers? Now, effective teachers actually motivate and engage their students. That's if we like to ask ourselves what's make us effective. So actually, it's to motivate and engagement of the students is more important. Now, the effective teachers they believe that every child can do something and is capable of achieving success. So this can word is not there, but then it's type error. So uh, they do all they can to make each student successful. Now, online teaching, it's like Kiran said, it's a paradigm shift in education, especially in those schools who have never heard of the word flipped classrooms or blended learning environment. And right now, we are really facing struggle, this dilemma. How will we teach online when we ourselves don't know how to teach? Obviously, we know what to teach, but we don't know how to teach on a screen. But today's topic will be moving a little beyond this thing. Rather than online teaching only, it should move beyond this, because to teach someone who is on the screen, you must know who that person is. And this really can be answered when you are teaching the same person in your own classroom as well. When they are going to come back from the screen time back to live one-to-one session, you will see a changed person in front of you, and that is what I'm about to aware you about, that who is basically that learner. Now it is time to learn and teach at the same time. You are learning technology and you are teaching content at the same time, because when you are teaching online, you need to be equipped with the skills, the IT skills that are necessary to teach the content that you are expert about. This is an evolution time for teachers. You need to be evolved, just like butterfly. And now they will cocoon itself, build itself, and then coming out like a butterfly, really like a wild creature with wings, with beautiful colors. So this is the time for evolution. It's a process to become someone who you actually are. Someone that you are, creative person in you. Being teachers, being educators, this is in your blood to be creative. And there's a paradigm shift from traditional teaching to innovative education. I hope this slide is clear to everyone. Now, we are the teachers of the 21st century students. Now, really tell me how many of us who are actually attending this webinar are 20 years old? I do not know whether there are so many, but if none of us are 20 years old educators, then we need to be aware of how to teach a student who is 100 years ahead of our time. Why did I say that? Because if you are more than 20 years, if you are just 21, you don't have a just 2 decades gap between you and your student. You have a 1 century gap. You are that old, perhaps ancient, to teach a child who is far beyond, in fact, born in the time of technology, born with the facility of laptop, maybe a smartphone with the internet connection, and all the world that is around him is all digital, where we believe that we are experts and we know everything, but this is actually what we don't know. So to do that, we need to know the skills and the learning design of the 21st century. Today's child is more technical and much more complex in thoughts and ideas. Now, there are skills to live, learn, and work today. We are in a time where we are finding difficult to work. In fact, even to live in this pandemic COVID-19 situation,
We are learning how to survive in a home, closed room, less contact, social distancing, live classrooms, and all that. And we need to really learn those skills, and we need to teach the skills to the students. Now, if our education is going on an advanced level, shouldn't we be teaching a curriculum that will suit the students who will be taught in this technical framework and will become adults one day, and we have to prepare them for that situation? Is something post pandemic. I mean, when this student will come in front of you, that student will also be evolved just like you. But problem is this: he is born in this environment, and we are not. Now, are the students being well prepared for the world they will live in as adults? Our students were born in era of technology with laptops, as I said, or a smartphone perhaps with an internet connection. Our students' brain are wired differently. They think differently. Our education system in general are rooted in models that were successful in the past. Now we need to really invent such a model that will be successful now. Perhaps that is going to work. We are just working on it. But this is not something new. People have been trying for about 20 years now to do distance learning programs. It is not something new. It's something old. We have been hearing about blended learning, flipped classrooms, but it is now to apply these things. So it is therefore essential to design an education that will equip students to live and thrive in an increasing complex world. Because when you will be equipping the students with all those knowledge, those technical information, use of technology, don't you think their education system, the whole evolution process will change, and their world will become complex day by day. So there are core set of expected skills that we need to learn and teach. So being knowledgeable about the world is what we need to learn and teach. Being smarter about sourcing information, where our information will be coming from. Now it is our time to browse the internet and drive those information from various sources, may it be an audio, video, a source of information in words. And then we have to teach the students to do the same. And we have to make them able to solve the problems. Is this that we've been doing in our life to life sessions? We have been doing this, but now we need to do that digitally. And therefore, when we do this, our students will become lifelong learners. They will think outside the box, having a good personal skills as well as having working in the as a part of the team. Nobody will be working in isolation. When we will be teaching online, we will be doing something that will actually involve collaboration. And nothing will be taught in isolation. Even though the child sitting in front of you will be on their own screen, but then he is actually interconnected with other people. Now, implication for schools is what? In this situation, there's a growing need for us to reimagine the teaching, the learning, and then the assessment. We have to rethink, give what shall we do now and how shall we teach in a different way? Shall we just make PowerPoint slides like this and present to our audience? Then where is our interaction? Or shall we do something which will make it more innovative and creative? And how will we do that? How will we make our students learn? And what is the criteria that we should set that learning is taking place? And if the learning has taken place, what are the modes of assessment? So these are those things that nowadays schools are also thinking about. So here's the solution. We are actually teaching the 21st century learners, and we need a framework for the learning. Now, we have this rainbow here in front of you, which is actually divided into different cores. The very first thing is actually key subjects, okay, which are three 21st century themes, okay, and I'm going to really talk about that right now. And beyond this, the rainbow says that we have to teach the skills which are life and career skills. So we are teaching people to become lifelong learners as well as train them for a career that doesn't exist. And when they are going to become adults, those career paths should be in our brains. You know? So it is not just the content, it is actually the life that we have to teach. The skills. What work will they do? Now, if we are learning everything online, shall we give them some skills? Or shall we extract those skills from them? Shall we make them gamers? Maybe perhaps the gaming industry will take a new turn. So think about that. So if we are actually using digital technologies, don't you think so? This fun way of doing things may perhaps one day become the career of a child. And then we have four C's: learning and innovation skills, which involves critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and of course, creativity. We must teach the students how to think critically and talk, communicate, provide them a platform where they can talk live, work together as a group, as I said, in team, and then come up with something new, creativity. As well as the framework of learning also involves the information technology, the media, and the technological skills of communication. We are doing classes on Zoom, we are doing on Google Meet, we have lots and lots of other softwares. So perhaps the children know much more than us. And from this framework should come out the standards and assessment criteria, the curriculum, the professional development, and then, of course, the learning environment, which right now is for the time being digital. And I believe that once it is digital, it will remain digital for a very, very long time because we just can't get rid of it very soon. Now, let's talk about the assessment and teaching of the 21st century skills. How we are going to assess the 21st century skills that I was talking about and how we are going to teach that. Now, there is the whole of this 21st century skills is a sphere, and if I just cut it and show you one piece, it will become a cross section, and that is right in front of you what you're watching, and it has some layers in it. So the very first layer is the way of thinking that we are teaching, and what you will be assessing is creativity and innovation, trying to assess that is the child thinking critically when you put them in problem? Is he able to make some decision? How is the child thinking? What is the way and mode of thinking? What is the way of working? How does a child communicate? Does he collaborate? So you may put rubrics based on these skills rather than just 2 plus 2 is 4. Make the rubrics, make the curriculum, make the assessment around all these when you are teaching online. And that is what will make you an effective teacher. What tools of working is our students are using? Are they using information literacy? Are they using information communication literacy? I mean, from where is this source of knowledge coming from? Are you giving them a chance to become the part of your plan? And last, you will be teaching living in the world. And how are you going to assess that? The citizenship, the local and global citizenship. You're preparing the child being in Pakistan and getting connected with the students outside this boundary with the use of Skype, perhaps, or you have Zoom. Won't you like your school to be connected, interconnected with people who are beyond your boundary? Yeah. Talking about the life and career now. What is actually the child inclination? Is the child better in music? Is the child more interested in gaming? What is actually the inclination? How he's going to live? And if that excites the child, won't your curriculum or your assessment be around that? Personal and social responsibility is what you will be teaching the child. You will give them some assignment, and that child should return it in time. And at the end, using STEM. Okay? I think Kiran can elaborate it very much. This is very much in these days, and this STEM actually really is the really core topic these days in many of the webinars. Now, core 21st century skills are just, if you put it in the grid, there are just 6 of them. The first one is problem solving and innovation. So you give them a piece of puzzle and then give them time to solve it. And there comes the innovation. The child is going to make solutions using his brain and come up with solution which doesn't exist. We have got global goals these days. Zero hunger. And if you really give child a question, how can this hunger be eradicated? It's a problem solving question. And what do you think will the child do? And that solution will be the child's solution, and then you can improvise it. It's just an example. You can really build your own. Global awareness, what is happening in the world. Knowledge construction, what happens when you integrate more than one subject? Is knowledge constructed? Is it interconnected? I know mathematics is really very much interconnected with music and science. I have experienced it, and I have been really solving queries around those. Skilled communication is one of the core skill that you have to teach. What words are my child using? Is my child using in online and offline? Is the communication really effective? Because when we are teaching online, we cannot just go on over and over and over, because people will lose interest. And this child of yours might just go away from the screen before even you end up your slides, your presentation, because the concentration span is not that much when you are watching things online. Self-regulation and assessment. Now, this is a skill that is cyclical. It should regulate itself. And then the child should self-assess himself. As obviously, being teachers, you will assess the child as well, but the child should also be able to do self-assessment. At the end, collaboration, which is teamwork. So these are the 6 core skills that makes a 21st century learner. And if you are teaching the 21st century learner, you must be aware of those to become an effective online teacher. Now, we always need an environment when we are teaching the people. So the 21st century learning environment, what does it cater? How to learn in this digital world, and how to gain knowledge in this digital world, and then adapt to change. And that applies to us as well. Are we ready to adapt the change? So now our environment, the classroom has gone digital. We are supposed to learn, make the students learn and gain knowledge. but we should make them adapt this change. Now, what is innovative teaching practice now? It is believed that the student-centered pedagogies was personalized in our classrooms. They were collaborative and knowledge was constructed, and then it is self-regulated. When you take this pedagogy, this teaching methodology outside the classroom and make this problem solving activity outside the classroom, and then the child gets connected to you 24/7 through digital opportunities. They can text you, they can ask you, and they are connected with you throughout. And that is how you make them aware of the global and cultural understanding of the world. And now, educator and students should be embedding information and communication technology. And being innovative teachers, we should be using those, because the basic versus higher level of for the knowledge building and creativity, it is very necessary. Now, this is the solution. For us these days to be innovative teachers, to be effective online teachers, we need to follow a new model, which is called TPAC. Now, T here, or T, stands for technical knowledge. P stands for pedagogical knowledge, which is our methods, and then content. We know how to teach, and we also know what to teach. And some of us also are really equipped with a technical knowledge too. But we need to actually now, in this learning environment, we need to integrate. Earlier, we were just using pedagogical and content knowledge, and we used to really blend these two. And this intersection was what we used to call it effective teaching. But effective online teaching will have a third element coming in now, which is technical knowledge. And this is the time where we need to adapt this. Now you see the center core, which is here, brown in color somewhat. This is what you need to be. And this is how your evolution will start. And this is where you will become a new being when you will use all the three. Now, obviously, to be an effective online teacher, we need some tools. And we have tools readily available for all of us. We have Microsoft programs that we can use just now. I'm using PowerPoint. What we don't know that in your office, you have something called OneNote. Now, OneNote is a very powerful tool that looks like a notebook where you can actually create lessons in it, and your students can really work on the same book when you share with your students. Isn't it interesting? And we have some online simulations, like we have Fiat interactive simulation. This Fiat is, you can search on Google. It's going to give you some interactive simulations, and you're most welcome to make a screenshot of this slide and use some of it to explore later on. Now, this Fiat simulation will allow you to do mathematics, your science, your English, in fact, everything, and it will become a simulator where things happening like quadratic equation, we only teach them on the board. But is it really happening somewhere? This is where Fiat interaction comes in. It's going to really show you what is happening in the quadratic equation. And Desmos is another software. It's an online simulator. It's a graphing software where graphs are made by just putting in some of the basic equations. Very readily, freely available for mathematics teacher and science teachers. Okay, this should be brainstorming. The T is missing, and we have plenty of websites available. I didn't want to put just one. There are so many that appears. You just write brainstorming, collaborative tools, and you will see different type of applications coming in, including the online whiteboards. So you can use those. And there are some, when you use the word collaborative tools, this means that the student can be a part of your brainstorming activity, as well as using a whiteboard online will allow your student to write on that. And right now there was something that I had in mind. It will come back to me, which I used to do with my students right now, but it was not exactly the whiteboard, but there was some grids in it, but I could see my students working on it online. So we have Google Apps right now these days, where we are using calendars, Google Meet, we are using Zoom. Now, difference between Google Meet and Zoom is that Google Meet is right now free of cost till September, but Zoom is free of cost forever. We have Google Classrooms available, where you can actually make the environment for your students, interact with them, embed some videos, and you can just really make a digital classroom for yourself. I'm just putting a list right now because this session is to introduce you how to become more effective rather than giving you trainings on each one of these. You see, all of these are packages and each of it needs to be learned independently. You can also make some interactive quiz, and to do that you can use Kahoot, and the website is kahoot.it, where you can really make some interactive quiz and your students can press four buttons and the online quiz will be right on their screens and your screen at the same time. And if you're not that happy with the online quiz, you can make a zip grade quiz. Now zip grade quiz actually is quiz made online, but the students are actually just coloring or highlighting the answers with a pencil, and then you can scan those answers using your own camera, and there you have it. Just with a click you'll have all the quiz checked. Then we have another tool which is called CMS, which is called Content Management System. And right now Khan Academy is the most famous one, which gives, in fact, all the videos, in fact quizzes also related to every field of education, starting from the very beginning going to the upper levels. And we have Padhao Sabak, or just sorry, not Padhao Sabak, only Sabak. Sabak.pk is one of the website which is very much local, and our Pakistan government is also using that, have taken their videos and is publishing it online in their own online classrooms. So you can use those as well to just extract the information. Last tool that we need to know is the LMS. Now, LMS is a learning management system, and Moodle, which is free of cost. If you are interested and if you know a little bit of web development, Moodle can help you create your own classroom environment if you don't like Google Classrooms. Now, how is Moodle different from Google Classrooms? Moodle allows you to do the assessment there. It allows you to take the attendance, whereas Google Classroom does not. Moodle actually allows you to monitor the student's performance. As the student go with your assignments, there is a chart that comes, a progress bar that is there, when you know that my child has actually read this particular assignment, and there is a tick there which is very much visible to the teacher. And if you don't know Moodle, then you can go ahead with Edmodo. Now, Edmodo is another website which is also an LMS, learning management system, and it is available on your cell phone. And anybody who knows Facebook can easily operate Moodle. You can post your quizzes there. You can post the upcoming assignments there. You can talk to your students live, and there you can make your classroom very much effective. And if you don't know any of this, then please use Facebook. Facebook is officially now a learning management system. You can make a page on it, and then you can interact with your students putting the assignments on it. And if you like it, I can give you a particular webinar or any one of this for you. Thank you so much. And this was all from my side. And I'll now give the mic control to Kiran again. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Gohar. I think it was really informative. It was something really good that we all spoke about today, and I could see that a number of teachers have joined in. There's few questions that I would like you to answer. So before I can take question, which Amna asked a few minutes back when you were sharing, I would like to actually add into what you were saying in terms of using Facebook as an LMS. What we are doing right now is also an example of teaching students, teaching teachers, supporting, facilitating through Facebook, and we are using it as LMS. So that is one very good example. The way we shared the PowerPoint today, the way we are sharing resources, the way we are having two people in one, four people in one go is all a kind of LMS that we can very easily use. And it has got a lot of material. You can very easily reach up to a lot of audience through Facebook because your followers are always there. Now, other than Facebook, one more medium which is quite in these days, and most of the youth, specifically the youth is using, is Instagram. So you see, rather having communication the way we used to have it earlier, these two communication social, what is it, social? I am not getting that word. Social communication networks have actually turned into learning management systems. So it's how divergent we can think of, how well can we use the resources that are already available. And you see how in how many multiple ways can we actually come up with something that is there with us and, the use of it. So that's one thing that I wanted to add. The second thing that I wanted to add when you spoke about STEM, yes, STEM is something which is very much in because this is also the need of time. We can't teach students or children at home. We can't develop concepts in isolations anymore. Compartmentalization has gone far beyond, and now we really need to come up with something which is more integrated, which is more embedded, and which is more wholesome. So STEM is another approach that we are using these days. Yes, STEM has now moved not only from science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, it has reached up to STREAM: science, technology, reading, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So you see, so many subjects are now coming in as one discipline, and it has moved into it has actually glided into an interdisciplinary approach. So thank you for raising these two very interesting points that we have just shared. Now, coming to the question, Gohar, I'm just reading that for you, if you can kindly answer. Amna has raised this question that she teaches online to primary classes and she needs grade 1 students to be more interactive. How can she do that?
May I use this mic because I will not be able to produce voice. I'm sorry about that.
You are a teacher. Use your teacher's voice.
My son is in
We
grade
don't
one,
have
so I
we don't have mics at schools.
well, there is some. Okay, grade one teaching. Grade one is the most challenging thing. Grade one has very less time, attention span. They cannot sit in one place for more than 10 minutes. So point one to be noted is please don't give them live classroom continuously. One of the most, I think I shouldn't be using this word worse, which is harsh word, that teachers are actually being forced to do is conduct a Google Meet live classroom just like we used to have it in our schools. Now, this model will not be effective with class 1 children. That is for sure. Now, if you are intending to teach the grade 1 child interactively, please do not just talk to them on the screen. Please bring in some simulation in front of them. As I gave them, if I give you the example of Fiat simulations, there are some very good examples of grade 1 as well, where they teach you counting, They teach you skip counting, and then you can learn timetables through that. And it is all done through the interactive way. Obviously, in this touch environment, there might be some applications that can allow the students to touch the screen and then change something that is on the screen. I would recommend such activities where touch is involved, because mouse cannot be operated by the child. But then if there is a touch screen, and if you're using an activity that is digital, very much digital, and it should be touch based, that will really be effective. I think that will answer the first part of the question, how this can be done. There are two things that I have said. Grade 1 should not be taught to a very lengthy time. At least the please put a limit to that. All right. So when you give them even the homework, it is also the responsibility of someone elder sitting with them to monitor that. But if you are actually making the mother or father sit for 5 hours in front of the screen with the child, you're actually penalizing the parent and the child both. Okay, so this should be used intelligently. Which activities should be used? As I said, please use interactive activities. Use Fiat simulations. It is for all the grade levels. So this is my answer.
Right. Thank you, Gohar, for this question. Now, Amna has another question. But before I come to that point, there are very interesting comments which are appearing. And in fact, most of the viewers are in complete agreement with your points. Misbah is saying that your teacher should be using a number of energizers, as you have said. So thank you, Misbah. This is a validation, because all teachers who are actually into the constructive mode, people who understand the importance of learning by doing, people who understand playway activity, people who understand giving students an opportunity to create knowledge, will definitely be coming up with this idea of giving them some privilege, some exposure to play, to work, and to create their knowledge. Shanaz is saying that it is hilarious idea to stay passive and attend such a long Zoom Google Classroom. It's practically not possible for children to stay passive and attend. So yes, Shanaz, spot on, excellent. Misbah is saying that rhymes and dancing is mandatory. Absolutely. We need to give them some physical work. It is not possible for a child to sit for so long and listen. We all know as teachers, retention rate is very low. We can't listen more unless we are not involved in some hands-on, minds-on, real life work that helps us understand the concept. And okay, there's another very interesting comment from Misbah that my third grader, 9-year-old, sleeps while taking online classes. Now, this is common with everybody starting from early years till university level. Because there's a lot of readiness, Misbah, if I tell you, there's a lot of readiness. People have still not understood the worth and the importance of online learning. For them, it's a wastage of time. Students don't take them positively because they think that teachers are just giving them information and they're not personally involved the way they were involved in a four-wall classroom. So this transition will take some time. We as teachers are also struggling to transit from one place to the other, and so are the students. There are very few students, despite being tech savvy. So many students are tech savvy, but still, when it comes to taking online classes, they try to find all the excuses of not attending them because they cannot see the concept building while they're working in isolation. That is one of the problems that we are all facing from early years to higher education. Okay, now Gohar, I would like you to answer. Shaliza is writing. Me also goes to sleep during online session unless something interesting is going on. So what would you suggest here? How can we keep our students alive, awake, and happy while we are taking online sessions?
Thank you so much for questioning this particular thing that is always in my mind too. If I will be on your side, I will be questioning this. Now, if you ask me, as Kiran said, please make people do something. This change of activity actually what makes you active. You have to really change it. And if you keep watching I mean, yourself only in front of mirror, you'll get bored. I'm sure, right? I mean, for how long can you watch yourself? Even though you love yourself, it's you. And if you're watching me, how long can you watch me? Right? So there is a time span which is there to watch a screen, and to do that, we have to really create buffers and some interactive sessions that will make people move away from the task. Give them to do something practical. I mean, don't make them sit in front of the screen. Give them a time-minute window. Give them a task that will allow them to move beyond the screen, do a task, and come back after some time and present their learning in front of you. And please do not ask presentations by asking them the child to show their paperwork with a small camera on the laptop. If they show that, you will not be able to see any result. Please ask them to take a snapshot of their work and send you through WhatsApp. That is the fastest way of communication, and the WhatsApp picture comes in your phone and stays there until you delete it. So you don't have to be worried about creating backups. It's going to come there, stay with you, and then you just select those pictures and keep it on your Google Drive or OneDrive, whatever you use it. So the answer to the question is, please give them a chance to move away from the screen, give them a real life task that you're going to give them, and give them a chance to be creative on their own rather than imposing them what you want them to do. If you ask them to draw a tree and color them, the instruction is to color it, not to color the tree green. The child can draw it blue, and that's the child's liberty to do it, freedom. And that is freedom that you have to understand. Why is the child drawing the tree blue? And from that point, you will get a chance to talk to the child, what is in the brain of the child, and that color will actually allow you to think beyond the horizons. That's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. It's a chance to know the child better. I hope I answered the question.
I think it's a very well comprehended answer, and people are really appreciating your response. Covers one more interesting question that I want you to answer. How many intervals or breaks should be given during online classes for primary level, and what is the ideal online class time for this age group?
The ideal online classroom class time for any level is max 15 minutes. If I'm giving a tuition online, tuition means I'm teaching online. The maximum online teaching, one session should only be of 15 minutes and not more than that. After the 15 minutes, please give the child a task to do. I don't say that to shut down your classroom. Give the child a task to do, and close the screen and come back after 15 minutes. Give them at least this much of time, because maybe in that 15 minutes the child will be finding something that should be used as a material. And if you give them more than 15 minutes, the child will disappear and start playing video games. So you have to really worry about that as well. 15 minutes is too much and too less at the same time. You should know whom you are dealing with, because this technology that you say technology is actually entertainment for people who were using that before we came in using this digital screen. This digital screen was used for YouTube or playing for video games. That's it. The children only use this as an entertainment and not as education. So you have to understand that. They are longing to have that time back from you. And after even you finish your classes, the children will say, "Mujhe time nahi mila cartoon dekhne ka." And they will ask you to give the cell phones so that they can watch their beautiful videos, because this is what the cell phone is for them. So what I would suggest, rather than you give them a task about a video itself. Why don't you give them a task? Like once Kiran gave us a task, watch a movie, Andekhi. Unsuni, I don't know what was that. Andekhi.
It was Aapko Dekhi.
आंखों
on
देखो,
philosophy. Aapko dekh-
आंखों. And I'm not a
Yes.
movie lover at all. I don't watch movies. But for to do her task, I really have to watch the whole movie not just once, but more than once. Because watching it once will just give me perspective, but watching it more than once will make me go beyond that perspective, because we were about to discuss what is happening in the movie and we were given a questionnaire related to that task. Now if the child level is 5 years or 10 years, there's a difference between 5 and 10 years child, and there's a difference of levels of videos that they watch. Children watch cartoons, and class 10 child won't like to watch cartoons as well, and if you are in their world you would know that they like to play PUBG, right? They are in gamings. So you will create some assessment related to those which the children like to do on the screen. There is one task that I've given my son these days, and it is called Minecraft in Education. That's a video game. But what Microsoft has done is, in that particular video game, they have embedded mathematics, they have embedded science, they have embedded geography. Now, how the geography teacher is using video game to teach the geography? In that video game, the learner is actually making an environment. It's a just plain canvas where you can build anything in the real 3D world. And everything that the child build is based on blocks, which is an equivalent fractions for mathematics. How many blocks will be required to build a building? How many windows will you put? What will be the distance from one place to the next place? It's all mathematics. And then there is a laboratory which involves mixing two or three chemicals and giving a result. That's a very intelligent game. Microsoft in Education has placed Minecraft in Education using video game to teach the real content. Now it depends on how you use it, because we know so less, we don't know what to use. We just know PowerPoint, and that's not the end of the world. We have to go beyond that, move away from that. Why don't you give your students to write blogs? Give them a blog project, and they can write a very good website based on anything that is happening in Karachi, maybe some landmarks. Give them articles to write, maybe paragraphs to write, but do them in a creative way that they will like to enjoy. Be a part of their world. And once you be the part of their world, this learning will become effective. I hope I've answered the question.
Yes, Gohar, you have again, it was a very good answer and it was so relatable. And I absolutely agree that the kind of ideas you were trying to share is something that, as constructive teachers, we always encourage our colleagues to go for. But again, to bring this change, teachers need to be ready for it. And that readiness is still there. So, unless that readiness, if you don't allow yourself to take initiative, you won't be able to come up with that, come out of it. So, the very first thing is taking initiative, coming over, and then striving new strategies, striving divergent thinking. Again, as we have been talking a lot about it these days, that we need to think outside the box, and all these ideas that we're sharing are the ones that we all teachers, irrespective of the age groups that we teach, from the early years to the university level, really need to work. Yes, so I think we have answered all the questions. Still, if you people have any questions, please feel free to join us. You can write on our page. Bushra is saying, very well explained. Thank you. So thank you very much, Gohar, for this answer. Nazat is in full agreement with you, Gohar, that yes, it is beneficial for students as educational weapon. Amna is saying she tries it and she's really learning. Misbah is saying so relatable. So I think most of us are in full agreement with what you're saying. So with this, thank you very much, everybody. We come to end of our today's session. Gohar will now be a regular feature through my platform, because Gohar, when I spoke to him and requested him to come online and share his views, he came up actually with a series of ideas, because today was just an orientation that we wanted our teachers, our colleagues to know and to learn that how to move from four-wall classrooms to online classrooms. So the next time when we'll meet together and we'll have Gohar with us, we will especially be talking about the strategies that teachers can easily apply. It will be more a practical session with all of you. So thank you. Just an announcement for tomorrow. As I did tell you in the beginning, we are receiving wonderful response from everybody. Okay. Shaliza is also saying that making vlogs is something really good. Amna is saying thank you, Kiran Gohar. You're welcome. Now, one more thing, as I did tell you in the beginning, the response that we are getting, there were few of our colleagues, of our viewers, of our followers who requested me over the week privately that last time the webinar that we had, it was more generic. So tomorrow again, we are coming in with the same panelists and we will be now talking about practical strategies, what parents can do at home during this lockdown time to support their children learn, to support their children being active, and to support their children educate, right? So we will meet you tomorrow from 6 to 7. Please, everybody, be there the way you were here today. And next week, I am coming up with something very different for you all, announcing it now live. We will have two sessions. So one session will be on importance of music in education is an area, and I have invited my very dear student. Um, that will be on Saturday, and Sunday we will be talking about specifically about teaching, teacher, and education. So that's the area that we'll be covering the next week. All right. So thank you very much again. We'll meet you tomorrow. Thank you and stay safe, spread positivity around, as I always say. Thank you, Gohar. I hope you had a good time.